Hey Carfathers, I'm happy to present that starting today we're going to have the new type of deck spotlights on the channel. However, this isn't where things are going to end, as we're working around the clock to improve the animation and visual aspects of these type of videos, so expect some major overhauls in the near future. But in the meantime, enjoy the video.
Stand up! Vanguard!
Royal Paladin is all about empowering your units by having a full field or by superior calling units from the deck. This is still somewhat the case with cards like Soul Saver. However, since the beginning of the reboot, they have been more about specific interactions between units that support each other. This is the best seen in the likes of Alfred with Blasterblade, but also with Akane, Pongal and Bedivere and K. But one unit takes this to a whole new level. Enter Solitary Knight Gancelot. Gancelot is a new VR for Royal Paladin that focuses on empowering your rearguard blaster blades. This allows your rearguards to generate insane pressure without wasting resources, which can be used to help get to your blaster blades. Gancelot's first skill turns your blaster blades into 20k beaters during both players' turns. This means they are stronger attackers during your turn and hard to removable units during your opponent's turn. This is similar to Monarch Alfred's skill minus the extra shield value. Gancelot's second skill turns your Blaster Blade circles into Vanguard circles, so your Blaster Blades becomes extra Vanguards. This gives them access to all the benefits from being a Vanguard. They can drive check on attack and they get access to their Vanguard skills. You can even ride on top of them to get extra force markers and gain access to powerful on-ride skills from your units without needing to ride on top of your Gancelot. However, this skill only activates when your opponent is also at grade 3, so he doesn't do much if you went first and you ride into him the first grade 3 turn. You don't have to worry about Vermilion or Exculpate dealing 2 to 3 damage when you're attacking because your Blaster Blades are only a Vanguard during your turn. The only glaring weakness of this card is that it relies on you having a Blaster Blade onto the field. However, this is compatible with the amazing new support cards around this new VR. Gancelot needs Blaster Blade to be onto the field to benefit from his skills. However, unlike Alfred, he can't get Blaster Blade out of the deck. Luckily for us, we have Knight of the Harp Tristan. He allows us to fetch a Blaster Blade from the deck and add it to our hand. This is particularly handy as we can use this skill to get more Blaster Blades out of the deck even if we don't need them onto the field at the particular moment in the game. This in turn also increases the chance of drive checking a trigger unit with all your drive checks. Tristan is locked behind an on-place effect and we need to be at grade 3, meaning we suffer on our early game. This isn't a major issue as Gancelot makes up for it during the mid to late game and we have other tools that can push in the early game. Another unit that helps us to get to Blaster Blade is an old friend that didn't get the shine when he came out, and that is Conjurer of Mithril. Mithril can search out a Blaster Blade from deck and call it to any rearguard circle onto the field. He is a bit overcosted and the 9k body is a bit harsh, but in this deck you don't use a lot of resources, so you don't mind the extra cost. Also, your main rearguard attacker are your Blaster Blades themselves, meaning other grade 2s in the decks are mainly here to support that purpose, so you don't mind the 9k body. You can call Mithril and use his skill to call Blaster Blade on top of himself if you already have a strong attacker in the other column. As I just mentioned, grade 2s for this deck need to be either insane strong attackers or just good support cards that helps the deck perform better. Where Conjurer of Mithril fixed this by being able to call Blaster Blade from deck, Knight of Truth Gordon takes a complete different approach. Not only helps he makes your Blaster Blade stronger, he can even be used as a booster behind your Blaster Blades, completely removing the downside of playing other grade 2s beside Blaster Blade. As we've seen so far, not a lot of units uses resources. That's why we can run cards like Conjurer of Mithril, and we can even use Blaster Blades on play skill without much hiccup, because we have Pluck Enchanter that can refund the soul and counterblast cost. This gives access to more searchers and potential deck thinning from other skills. By combining more Pluck Enchanter, you can generate more resources than you should actually have available. If you have one counterblast, you can still use a Conjurer of Mithril to call Blaster Blade, then refund the cost with one of your enchanters, then use Blaster Blade's skill, and you can refund that skill with the second enchanter. You can effectively turn one counterblast into 3 counterblasts as long as you use counterblast to get Blaster Blade to the field in one shape or another. Your main grade 3 is Gancelot, and you want to be sitting on him at all times. But it doesn't mean we can't run other grade 3s. The opposite is even more true, because we can ride on top of our Blaster Blade, we can generate more force markers while still getting access to Gancelot if we don't have an extra copy of Gancelot in our hand. Great support cards are the Alfred grade 3s. Alfred early is a nice support card as you don't mind riding a Blaster Blade on turn 2. When you ride early on a Blaster Blade that is on an extra Vanguard circle, the Blaster Blade is moved to the soul, then you can resolve early on Blade's effect and call the Blaster Blade to either the other side or on top of early, and then give it an extra 10k power and draw a new card. By doing this, you effectively use a Counterblast and a grade 3 discard to get an additional force marker, 10k power on a Blaster Blade and a drawn card. And if you have a Pluck Enchanter into the field, you can potentially get the Counterblast back. Monarch Sanctuary Alfred is also a great support card as it's similar to early. The extra Soul Blast cost might make this card more expensive than early, but it's actually the same cost as you just Soul Blast the Blaster Blade and add it then to hand. You might not get the extra draw or power on Blaster Blade, but your Monarch can get a plus 15k and potentially an extra crit. Also, if you need to ride Monarch as your first grade 3, adding the Blaster Blade to hand instead of calling it to the field might help you more in a control type matchup. The last Alfred, King of Knights Alfred, might not have the same added bonus as the other Alfred, as it has no on-ride skill or a way to get Blaster Blade back to the field, which you just removed. King of Knights does provide us with one added feature, which makes him still usable, and that's the fact that he can call a Blaster Blade from deck. So riding him as your first Vanguard might not be a bad thing, as you can set up for Gancelot the following turn. The last card that works really well with this engine is Great Sage Baron. This card can make your Gancelot more threatening. If you have this unit onto the field, you can attack with your Blaster Blade Vanguard with a potential extra crit, then attack with Gancelot and attack for an extra 5k and an extra crit. If you drive your crits, you can pass them over to your third column. This way you can swing for game very early in the game without much trouble. Your resource game isn't a big problem as your engine cards are completely free, and thanks to Pluck Enchanter you can generate free resources, especially if you have multiple on the field, which allows you to use Blaster Blade skill for free. The only thing you need to establish is that all your counterblast is face down the moment you place a Blaster Blade. As a Force Clan, your trigger lineup is very limited. You have 3 crits, 2 draws and a heal trigger to play with. Most of your pressure comes from your multiple Vanguard attacks and potentially crits, so you want to play at least a good amount of them. But don't forget, this build needs its Blaster Blades, so draws are a warm welcome to draw into a Blaster Blades more often. So finding a good balance between those two types of triggers is vital. Gancelot's main strategy is very linear, but even though that's the case, you can make a lot of different builds by focusing on different aspects of all the interactions that come with added Vanguard circles. Right out of the box, you can build the following list that makes use of all the aspects of Gancelot's abilities. You can use the obvious Blaster Blade engine, which is the core of the deck, and on top of that, we can run Baron to give our Gancelot extra crit pressure. Now you do have some extra cards in this list. You have Field Feather Dragon as a support grade 3. Of course, he isn't here as a right target, as that's a horrible situation, but he is here to make up for 2 problems of the deck: the lack of early game and the lack of draw power. Most cards in this deck are only live at grade 3 or when both players are at grade 3. Also, with the limited draw potential, you can use all the help you can get. So you can call this on grade 3 when your field is empty and draw 4 and call your field. You also have some extra grade 1s, Senegals in here to turn your Blaster Blades and Gordons into 28, 38k columns respectively. And Soul Guiding Elf is here to have some situational draws, and also to get more value out of your Pluck Enchanters. This is a standard straight out of the box option, but if you want a more power driven build that focuses on making your Blaster Blade attacks as consistent and threatening as possible, you can go for the following build. This build uses different cards to either power up your Blaster Blades on the field, get them to the field, or try to benefit from the fact that he is also an additional Vanguard. The added bonus in this list is that you run Exculpate to have an extra finisher option. Also, a nice interaction with Exculpate is that it works with Tristan, as Tristan gets a Blaster Blade to hand, which can help you use Exculpate. If you want to take a more advanced route that takes advantage of your Blaster Blades being an extra Vanguard, you can take the following list that uses that mechanic and takes advantage of all the additional interactions. As you can see, this list has a lot of extra high grade units. We run Exculpate and both Alfreds that refund our Blaster Blades. However, this list has something added that differentiates itself from the other list, and that is the Bedivere and K combo. This gives the deck some good good early game as well as some extra draw potential. It also gives you more reason to ride Blessed Blade on turn 2, as you can benefit from its crit skill in the early game without dedicating your hand onto the board. And with Alfred you can get him back onto the field. Gancelot's mechanic and support cards are very late game. Most of your deck will only activate on turn 3 or turn 4, so you can focus your strategy to go in full gear in your late game turns with even more late game support, but you can also take a more early game approach with cards like Bedivere, K, Akane and Pongo, which can build fields early game, so your Gancelot turns are all the more deadly. The Solitary Knight returns to Cray, and this time he doesn't come alone, as he brings his trusted companion Blessed Blade in battle. And with the support of their private platoon, they become a force to be reckoned with. Thanks for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this new type of spotlight. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought of the new format and how we present the information and visuals, as we can still improve things as we go while we're working on the new animations and visuals for this type of series. So let me know your thoughts and comments let me know all your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. If you're hungry for more and you want to see more deck spotlights for the other VRs for Aerial Seed Liberation, then check out our channel or the upcoming days while we're introducing the other VRs and the other deck spotlights that you can make with the new cards of Aerial Seed Liberation. In the meantime, I want to thank my Patreon supporters for supporting the channel. You guys make this all possible, so thank you for your direct support. If you do want to support the channel, then you can do that simply by subscribing and hitting the bell button to be updated for future videos, either by liking and sharing the videos. But if you want to support us directly, you can do that by going to our Patreon page at patreon.com/VanguardInsider and become a Patreon today. But as always guys, I'm Mr. Time Leap, and I'll see you guys in the next one!